Hello children, my name is Achla Verma and I teach mathematics to senior students at Birla Balika Vidyapeeth, Pilani, Rajasthan. The other day, trigonometry was caught in a sine wave because it went into the beach to tan the body. That was a mathematical meme. The topic for today's lesson is inverse trigonometric functions. Children, I would like to share with you one very interesting incident. Have you seen or heard about the Leaning Tower of Pisa? This remarkable architectural structure of medieval Europe is an excellent example of the applications of inverse trigonometric functions. It so happened that during the construction of the structure, due to inadequate foundation, the tower began to tilt, and the tilt increased year by year. So to preserve the historical structure, geotechnicians, engineers, mathematicians, structural engineers, and historians were called to solve the issue. The team did their research and came to a conclusion. They calculated the angle at which the tower was leaning, and by applying the concepts of inverse trigonometric functions, the tower was tilted at an angle of 3.9 degrees and made safe for the next 300 years. Amazing, isn't it? So today's topic will help you to understand what the inverse trigonometric functions are. It will help you to know the domain and range of inverse trigonometric functions. You will be able to draw the graphs for inverse trigonometric functions, and you will be able to evaluate some questions related with the values of inverse trigonometric functions. So before we begin the topic, let us recollect what we had studied in our previous classes. Now, can we recollect the definition of function? What is it? A function is a mapping from one non-empty set A to another non-empty set B, such that every element of A has a unique image in B, which is defined as function. Or in short, we can also say that if the two sets are subsets of real numbers, we call the functions as real valued functions, and every element of first set has a unique image. That is what we define a function as. Then what is a 1-1 function? A 1-1 function is a mapping from A to B, and every element of first set has a distinct image in the second set. We can also say that a real valued function is 1-1 when distinct elements have distinct images. Then what is an onto function? An onto function, f mapping from A to B, is defined as every element of the second set has a pre-image in the first set. Again, our functions are all real valued functions. Now, once we know a function is 1-1 and onto, what can we say about its inverse? A function which is 1-1 and onto both together, that means every distinct elements of first set have distinct images and every element of the second set has a pre-image. Such functions are invertible. So we define inverse as a function f maps A to B, and its inverse would be the function f, which is mapping from A to B, is 1-1 and onto, and its inverse is denoted by f inverse, and the domain and range of the function interchange, and hence the f inverse, which is an inverse function, will be mapping from B to A. So, and the composition of these two functions would always give us an identity function. Now, let us look at the domain and range of the trigonometric functions. As you know that we have 6 trigonometric functions. They are sine, cosine, tan, cosecant, secant, and cot. The domain and range you can see on the slide. that for the sine and cosine function, the domain and range are same. For the tan and the secant function, the domain is same, as tan and secant are not defined at odd multiples of pi by 2. The domain of tan and secant is set of all real numbers except the odd multiples of pi by 2. Whereas the domain of cosecant and cot are set of all real numbers except the multiples of pi. And you can also see that the range of tan and cot is same, which is set of all real numbers, and the range of cosecant and secant is set of all real numbers except the real numbers which are between -1 and 1. Let's look at the graphs of trigonometric functions. How do they look? Now, when you look at the graph of sine function, you can see that the whole of the x-axis is being used in case of sine as well as cosine function. That depicts that the domain is set of all real numbers, and the range, the y-axis is not being used fully, and in fact the values between -1 and 1 are only used in case of y-axis. Hence the range of cos and sine is the closed interval -1 to 1. If you look at the graph of tan and cot, they look similar. And you can see that there is some undefined value in case of the tan function and the cot function. You can see odd multiples of pi by 2 in the tan graph are not having images, whereas the whole of the y-axis is being used. Similarly, for the cot function, the whole of the y-axis is being used, but the multiples of pi and 0 do not have any images. So the domain is restricted as per that, and the range is set of all real numbers for the tan function. Similarly for the cot. We move to the cosecant and secant function. You can look at the graph of the cosecant and secant. Although they look similar, there is a slight difference because cosecant is not defined at multiples of pi and 0, and secant is not defined at odd multiples of pi by 2. And you can also see that the region between -1 and +1 of the y-axis is not being used. So the range is r minus the open interval -1 to 1. We move ahead. Now there is one simple test which helps us to find whether the given function is 1, 1 or not by drawing the graph and using this horizontal line test on the graph. So we take 4 graphs here and draw a line, a horizontal line. Now this horizontal line test says that if the graph cuts or meets the line at more than 1 point, then the graph or the function that depicts the graph is not 1, 1. And here you can see the first graph, which is parabolic, and the last graph, which is a curve, are meeting the horizontal line at 2 or more points. Hence, these two graphs or these two functions are not 1, 1. And the graphs in between, that is the function f of x equal to 2x minus 1, which is a straight line, and the graph f of x equal to x cube is a curve, they meet the horizontal line only at one single point. Hence, these two graphs are 1, 1 functions. These two functions are 1, 1. Now let us see if the trigonometric functions are 1, 1. Let us place this horizontal line on all these graphs of the trigonometric functions. See, you can see that the horizontal line test is not satisfied by any of the trigonometric functions, and hence trigonometric functions are not invertible. But then, is it possible? Then how can we find inverse trigonometric functions? Can we do something to find the inverse trigonometric functions? Can we do something to make these trigonometric functions as 1, 1 and on 2? Yes, We can. We can restrict the domain of a trigonometric function, and we would get them as 1, 1 and on to. You can see the sine graph here and the cosine graph here. If we restrict the domain to a particular region so that we cover all the values only once, we would get a 1, 1 and an onto function. So let us look at that in the next figure. So we redefine the domain and range of trigonometric function such that they become 1, 1 and onto. If we restrict the sine graph, sine domain of the sine function as closed interval minus pi by 2 to plus pi by 2, it will cover all the real values between minus 1 and plus 1 only once. So distinct elements will have distinct images, and every element of the second set has a pre-image. The condition that is required to find the inverse of a function is being satisfied. So if we restrict this way, we can definitely find sine inverse function. Similarly, we can restrict the domain and range of cos function. So we take the domain as 0 to pi instead of all real numbers. We take the domain of tan as open interval minus pi by 2 to plus pi by 2. We take the domain of cot function as open interval 0 to pi, and cosecant function, the domain as minus pi by 2 to plus pi by 2 closed interval, and we know at 0 it is not defined, so we remove that 0. And secant function 0 to pi closed interval without the 90-degree angle would definitely give us a 1, 1 and on 2 function. So now we can find inverse trigonometric functions. Let us look at the graphs and the domain and range. So we define the domain and range of inverse trigonometric functions. We simply interchange the domain and range of the trigonometric functions, and we get the domain and range of the inverse trigonometric functions. So now our functions are sine inverse x, cos inverse x, tan inverse x, cosecant inverse x, secant inverse x, and cot inverse x. The domain of sine inverse x becomes closed interval minus 1 to 1, and the range of the sine inverse function becomes closed interval minus pi by 2 to plus pi by 2. Similarly, you can find how they are changing. And now let us look at the graphs which are here on the slide. You can see here that for the sine inverse function, all the values from minus 1 to plus 1 are covered only once. Similarly, for the cos function also, all the values, cos inverse function, all the values from minus 1 to 1 are taken only once. For the tan function, you have seen that the whole real number set of the x-axis is being used, and the range is lying between minus pi by 2 and plus pi by 2, not including these 90-degree values. The cosecant function, cosecant inverse function, the domain is set of all real numbers except the real numbers which are between minus 1 and plus 1. You can see the same is the domain for the secant inverse function, and for the cot it is minus infinity to plus infinity. Let us compare the graphs of trigonometric functions and their inverse. The next slide gives you a very clear picture of how the sine function is restricted to one branch, and hence we get a sine inverse function restricted to the same branch, and it is satisfying the horizontal line test. Similarly, for the cos also we can see the cos function lies between 0 to pi. The domain was 0 to pi, whereas here the range becomes 0 to pi. For the tan function, the domain is minus pi by 2 to plus pi by 2, but the tan inverse function, the domain is all real numbers. Similarly, cosecant, secant, and cot. You can see the transition in this slide. It is a very interesting transition that you see between the sine function and the sine inverse function, how the graph differs, how it behaves. Similarly, for the cos and cos inverse, both are drawn in the same graph and you get a beautiful design. It's very interesting, but you actually see what is the behavior of the cos function and how the cos inverse function behaves. In the next slide, you can see the transition between tan and tan inverse, cot and cot inverse. Now, the important points, what you learned. Remember, inverse trigonometric functions play an important role in calculus, and these concepts are used in science and engineering. There's one important point you need to know, that when we write sine inverse of x, it does not mean that it is reciprocal of sine. So sine inverse x is not equal to 1 upon sine x. An inverse function is not reciprocal of the given trigonometric function. In fact, if we write sine x whole raised to the power -1, then it is the reciprocal of sine. We can have more branches of these inverse trigonometric functions and then restrict those branches to get the inverse trigonometric functions. The restricted branches of domain and range studied in the table for inverse trigonometric functions are called as principal value branches. So, what we had studied till now, that is sine inverse, the domain for sine inverse function is closed interval -1 to +1 and the range is -π/2 to +π/2. So this particular branch is called as principal value branch. The branch that is -π/2 to +π/2 becomes the principal value branch for the sine inverse function. Similarly, for the cos inverse function, the principal value branch is 0 to pi. For the tan inverse function, the principal value branch is open interval -π/2 to +π/2. For the cosecant inverse function, the principal value branch is again closed interval -π/2 to +π/2 without the value 0. For the secant inverse function, the principal value branch is closed interval 0 to pi without π/2. And for the cot inverse function, the principal value branch is open interval 0 to pi. Now, actually, it makes it very clear when you have to evaluate these values. Remember, for the sine inverse function, you will be applying the rules of first and fourth quadrant when you find the angle. Sine inverse x, x is a number, and sine inverse x is an angle. So when you find sine inverse of some number, it is an angle that you get. And where are these angles lying? So when you look at the range of the sine inverse function, it is -π/2 to +π/2. So it tells you that it is covered in the first and the fourth quadrant. So the angles in the first quadrant are positive and the angles that you get in the fourth quadrant are negative. So sine inverse of a positive number would be an angle in the first quadrant and sine inverse of a negative number would be an angle in the fourth quadrant. Similarly, for a cos inverse function, the range is 0 to pi. The principal value branch is 0 to pi. That is, we are covering quadrant 1 and 2. So if cos inverse of a positive number is found, the angle would be from the first quadrant. And if the cos inverse of a negative number is to be calculated, then the angle would be in the second quadrant. Remember, the angle in the second quadrant would be an obtuse angle, an angle which is less than 180 but greater than 90. So this trick will help you to remember how to find the values easily. Similarly, if you look at the principal value branch of tan inverse, it is open interval -π/2 to +π/2. So it's very easy. It would be in the first quadrant or fourth quadrant. So all the positive numbers would give the angle in the first quadrant, and all the negative numbers would give the angle in the fourth quadrant. So in this way, you can remember all the inverse values, more branches of these inverse trigonometric functions. Now, we learned about the principal value branches. There are more branches where this function can be the trigonometric function can be 1, 1 and on to. Hence, we can find the inverse trigonometric function. So, for example, I have shown you on the slide 2 different branches. There are more. There are infinite number of branches that you can find where the trigonometric functions would be 1, 1 and on to, and you can everywhere find the inverse trigonometric functions. So that is the reason you need to look at the question whether you are asked to find a principal value branch or any value. Okay, the general solution or the principal solution, which you would be doing later on when we do the exercise. But let us calculate a few values of sine inverse, cos inverse, tan inverse, all these functions. So this particular slide helps you to find some basic values. You can see here, when x is -1 for a sine inverse function, then y is, what is y? Y is sine inverse of x. So sine inverse of -1 is equal to minus pi by 2. Similarly, sine inverse of 0 is equal to 0. Sine inverse of 1 is pi by 2. It's very easy. You can see here they are all direct values, which we had for the intervals also. Then the next one, cos inverse of -1 is pi. Cos inverse of 0 is pi by 2. Cos inverse of 1 is 0. If we move ahead to tan inverse of -1 is -1. It has to be the fourth quadrant, and the angle would be the negative angle. So tan inverse of -1 is minus pi by 4. Tan inverse of 0 is 0. Tan inverse of 1 is pi by 4. Next, cosecant inverse. Cosecant inverse of -1 is, you remember the principal value branch of cosecant inverse? It is lying between the closed interval minus pi by 2 to plus pi by 2 without the 0, except 0. So that means if it is a negative number, it has to be an angle below. So cosecant inverse of -1 is equal to minus pi by 2. And cosecant inverse of +1 is equal to pi by 2. Secant inverse of -1 similarly would be first and second quadrant. The range of secant inverse, the principal value branch of secant inverse is 0 to pi except pi by 2. So secant inverse of -1 is pi, and secant inverse of +1 is 0. Cot inverse of -1. Now look at the cot inverse function. The principal value branch of cot inverse is open interval 0 to pi. That is first and second quadrant. So your negative values would go into the second quadrant. That is, your angle is going to be obtuse angle. But remember, the angle has to be less than 180 degree to answer a principal value branch angle. Okay. So cot inverse of -1 is 3 pi by 4, and cot inverse of +1 is pi by 4. So let us write some more values. If sine inverse x is equal to y, then y is equal to sine x. We simply apply this simple principle to find out all inverse values. So we know that sine pi by 2 is 1, hence sine inverse 1 is pi by 2. Similarly, sine inverse 1 by 2 is equal to, we know that sine 30 degree or sine pi by 6 is 1 by 2. Therefore, sine inverse 1 by 2 is equal to pi by 6. Sine inverse root 3 by 2 would be then equal to pi by 3. Sine inverse minus 1 by 2. Now, the number is negative. So, the angle will be lying in the fourth quadrant. And therefore, we have to, the angle would be negative. The rotation would go in clockwise direction and the angle would be negative. So sine inverse minus 1 by 2 is equal to minus pi by 6. Sine inverse minus root 3 by 2 would be minus pi by 3. Similarly, sine inverse 1 by root 2 is pi by 4 and sine inverse minus 1 by root 2 is minus pi by 4. The same rules apply for tan and cosecant. So tan inverse minus 1 by root 3 will be minus pi by 6. And if it is a positive number, tan inverse root 3, it would be equal to a positive angle, which is pi by 3. Similarly, cosecant inverse minus 2, because it is minus 2, the angle would be the negative angle minus pi by 6. And cosecant inverse 2 by root 3, the positive number will be a positive angle, which is in the first quadrant, equal to pi by 3. Cosecant inverse minus root 2 would be minus pi by 4, and plus root 2. Cosecant inverse plus root 2 would be plus pi by 4. Now, all these values, where are they helping us? They are helping us to evaluate few questions like this, which are written down. One here, sine inverse minus root 3 by 2 plus cosecant inverse minus 2 plus tan inverse minus 1. Just find out, evaluate this. So simply apply your knowledge and put the angles that you know and simplify it to get the answer as minus 3 pi by 4. We have 3 more inverse functions to evaluate. We apply the same rule, and now this time all these 3 set of functions are in the range 0 to pi. So you can remember them and make a sentence with these first letters, that S, C and T are having the principal value branch as minus pi by 2 to plus pi by 2. And C, cot, cos and secant, CCS, are having the principal value branch as 0 to pi. In sine, tan and cosecant, you used positive angle and negative angle. And in case of cos, cot and secant, you will be using acute angle and an obtuse angle. Acute angle for positive values and obtuse angle for all the negative numbers that you have with this. So cos inverse minus 1 by 2 is equal to an angle in the second quadrant. And how do we calculate the angle in the second quadrant? Pi minus theta. We use the rule pi minus theta. So by using that rule, we get 5 pi by 6. Cos inverse minus root 3 by 2 is equal to pi minus pi by 3, which is 2 pi by 3. Cos inverse minus 1 by root 2 is pi minus pi by 4, equal to 3 pi by 4. Similarly, for cot inverse minus 1 by root 3, it is 2 pi by 3. And if you have a positive number, cot inverse root 3, the angle is positive, pi by 6. Secant inverse minus 1 by 2 is 2 pi by 3. Secant inverse root 3 by 2 is equal to pi by 6. Secant inverse minus root 2 is equal to 3 pi by 4. And these values are going to help us evaluate few questions, like we have one below. Cos inverse minus 1 by 2 plus cot inverse root 3 plus secant inverse root 3 by 2 would be equal to, when you put the values and simplify, you get it equal to 7 pi by 6. So I hope you have understood what we have done, and you are able to now decide what are inverse functions, and are these trigonometric functions invertible? Can we find inverse of trigonometric functions, and how do we find it? If we restrict the branches, is there only one type of branch which we get, or we have more branches? You are able to draw the graphs for the trigonometric functions, and you will be able to draw the graphs for the inverse trigonometric functions. And then you are able to evaluate some values of inverse trigonometric functions. Let us revise. Define an inverse function. I'm sure all of you will be able to say now that if a function is 1, 1 and on 2, then it is invertible. And F inverse is the denotation for the inverse function, and the domain and range of the F inverse would be just the reverse of the domain and range of the function which is given. What is the domain of a tangent function? You all know that domain of a tangent function is set of all real numbers except the odd multiples of pi by 2. What is the range of cosecant function? I'm sure you have understood the range of cosecant function. You know that the graph of the cosecant function does not lie between -1 and +1. So it is set for all real numbers except the real numbers between -1 and +1. What is the principal value branch of secant inverse function? I'm sure you know that now the principal value of branch of secant inverse function, which will be the closed interval 0 to pi except the 90-degree value. In the graph of cot inverse function, what does y-axis represent? I'm sure now you know that be it cot inverse or any other function, any inverse trigonometric function, the y-axis is going to represent the angle. It's going to represent the angle, and the x-axis is going to represent the values of trigonometric functions. What is the value of secant inverse root 2? I'm sure you all know it. Now, this is equal to pi by 4. What is the domain of tan inverse x? So, the domain of the tan inverse function is set of all real numbers. What is the range of cos inverse x? You know very well now, it is closed interval 0 to pi. Evaluate this cosecant inverse minus 2 by root 3 plus tan inverse root 3 plus cos inverse minus root 3 by 2 minus cot inverse minus 1 by root 3. I'm sure you will all be able to do this. Is cot inverse x the reciprocal of cot x? I'm sure you all know now the difference between the inverse function and the reciprocal function. So cot inverse x is an inverse function and it is not equal to reciprocal of cot x. Thank you.